Welcome everybody to the Social Dig, the greatest underrated show on the World Wide Web. I am your host, Mr. Rob G, and as always, we're going to be digging into the topics to keep you talking and the talk that keeps you thinking. What's been going on? Disclosure 2.0. It happened the other day. Dr. Stephen Greer went up there and did a few things. Want to know what you guys think about that. What did you think about the presentation? It was 3 hours long. You know, we streamed it right here on the Social Dig. Thanks for everybody that came by. This is the morning show. Let's call this the Social Dig morning show. We're trying out some new stuff here. You know what I mean? It's 7:15 Pacific time here in sunny California. That means about 10:15 on the East Coast. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, happy hump day. Whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this on Team Replay, or whether you are listening to this on Spotify or iHeartRadio, as the Social Dig is now officially available on Spotify and iHeartRadio. So you can kind of turn it on your morning commute, listen to the Social Dig, listen to us getting into those topics. Feeling pretty good today. You know, it's morning time. I got my cup of coffee over here. Haven't really streamed like this in the mornings. It's a different feeling. I think the Social Dig might become a morning show. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Put it in the comments. So, without further ado, let's get down to business. Like we do always. Oh, my guy Mateo, he'll be back. He's out on business as well. So maybe we'll have him back for tomorrow's show. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But until then, let's jump into this disclosure news, y'all. All right, disclosure news. So, bunch of stuff going on. We're going to go ahead and start from the top here. I thought I was going to let the Las Vegas alien thing go, but things seem to keep developing in that story. So, I'm sure you've heard by now that the young man who went ahead and put out the video giving his statement regarding the sighting, word was the family had went ahead and gone silent, so they were unreachable. So News 8 in Las Vegas tried a few times to reach out to get them to do an interview, and they were nowhere to be found. Well, he's actually released another statement, and it turns out that they actually had to leave their residence. So what was that all about? I don't know. Did it have to do with just the fact that maybe this was a hoax? Did it have to do with the fact that everyone in the world was showing up at their house taking pictures? And that could be very annoying and unsafe. Was it the fact that maybe government officials showed up at the door or were harassing and making them swear to secrecy? I don't know, but by the way, the tone of the statement that he made, you could tell pretty much that they were pretty fed up. And if you ask me, if this was my house and a 9-10 foot tall thing landed in my backyard, I probably couldn't sleep there any further. So I probably would leave as well and disappear as well. So I don't blame them. But let's go ahead and get into the news story where they kind of go over that, and then we'll go ahead and talk about that.
So he took some cell phone video It's hard to make out what's going on, but effectively in the backyard, when his parents came out and things were a bit chaotic, he did take some cell phone video. People online are really trying to scrutinize it and see if they can see shadows. I don't know if you can see it, if you peer, but they were quite frightened, the family. They were very nervous. The police even said the family was very nervous, and the kid, he's a teenager. He was very frightened during this encounter as well, as the police described it. You know, the internet can be a pretty nasty place. I know. And the internet has been pretty nasty to this little guy, this teenager. And so the teenager has now taken to TikTok to tell people to just kind of back off. He's having a tough time with all the criticism, and he's asking, you know, for a little bit of privacy. Take a look.
I already said what I had to say. If you want to believe it, believe it. I don't care no more. And just move on, guys. Forget about it and just bye.
Joining me now, Mark Barry. He is a retired Las Vegas Metro Police detective who's been investigating this case. Mark, the family, according to Angel, said that they had to move because of the pressure that they were dealing with, that they said, you know, things got pretty unbearable. They said they're not in hiding, but that they have moved away. Yet police have not made a statement about this. And it seems to me that there's enough national and local coverage. The internet is sort of on fire about the story. What do you make of this, given your police background?
Well, the reason they're not making a statement in general, and this goes with any police department, is they're currently investigating a crime. They don't want the information out there. It's basically, when you're dealing with a crime, it's controlled release, right? You want to release the information that's going to gain possible other witness statements or have other people come forward. And that's kind of what it appears to be. But what I can't figure out is, what's the crime? Trespass? I don't really understand it. And, you know, with Angel, you know, saying that he's suffering from anxiety attacks and stuff, I mean, if anything, the police department should come forward and say, hey, we did investigate it. It was unfounded, just as the patrol officer said, and let's move on and give Angel some kind of closure so that people don't harass him. They don't drive by his house and take pictures, you know, all through the night, and just kind of be upfront with everybody. If they're not, then yeah, there's something else going on.
Okay, question for you about the cell phone video that I just played. That's new tonight for our viewers. And, you know, Angel shot the cell phone video after the whole incident. It doesn't show what he said he saw. It does show a quite nervous family in the backyard, sort of jumping back. And some folks online who have scrutinized it have said they see shadows. And let's get the control room to play that video. And so, Mark, if you can take a look at it and just tell me what you see since you've been investigating this whole incident.
Sure.
Okay, we're not. It's going to be there in a second, so you can go ahead and start talking, and we'll have you talk over it.
So I've already previewed this video here. You can see that person there in the blue shirt has a pistol. The guy in the gray shirt in the blue jeans also has a pistol. There appears to me, in my experience, there is a absolute genuine sense of, oh my God, what's back there? Obviously, with the chatter and the talk, I think it kind of focused in on the heavy equipment. Now, the heavy equipment from that angle was just too far back to see anything. I didn't see any movement. I looked at it pretty closely. I slowed down the frames. I didn't see any movement. I didn't see anything indicative of a trespasser or anything out of the ordinary or out of place.
Well, listen, Mark Barry, really appreciate you weighing in on this. We'll continue to sort of watch for any developments, especially if the Metro Vegas Police decide to talk about this eventually. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider, and don't forget to click the red subscribe button.
So what do you think about that? So makes sense, right? I was done with it. I thought it was a hoax. I still kind of lean towards maybe it is a hoax. But there's some compelling things going on here. Now, initially, when it was said that they wouldn't answer the door, they wouldn't return phone calls, first thought would be, okay, it's because they're hoaxing. But then when you really look at it and you see this video, they went out there with firearms. They went out, the three gentlemen went out there. They both had large firearms going into the backyard. Now, I don't know if you do that if it's a hoax. I don't know if you do that. Now, there was video that I guess he released after he made this statement. I mean, you could tell he's just tired of being bothered and harassed, and I'm sure ridiculed by a lot of people online. We know how Twitter and can be a mean, toxic place. So the young man probably is just trying to stay out of the limelight. Makes sense, right? So I always say I'm in the middle of the road. Everything that had happened up to this point, I'm leaning to the side of, hey, this doesn't seem right. Probably is a hoax. But then footage came out. Now, I didn't take this footage, so I can't vouch for it, and I'm on the fence with it. But there are some things in this footage that are going to make you look and make you think. Right after they approach the gate with those firearms, you can see something over there inside of the tractor and something on the side of the tractor. This was pointed out by another YouTuber, and I went ahead and took a look at it, edited a video together, and pointed these things out. So let me know what you think about it. We're going to take a look at it because pretty freaky.
que kan disparit le gallenge alla chorsi korai. Kalmungarela me kasile goriso. Kailo chero que chili. Kailo chero. Kailo. Chili cow. Chili cow.
Adrelo.
Kai, firmisar, que sai.
Anglaudel te
Pero firmisar, porque canto na chorro, que kan mundarela.
Diles, eso lo estamos viendo para acá.
Kai.
Anda el camión, no conchadica de camión. Ellos segundo, de izquierda para acá, de cables.
Kai, chorro, chidi ka Bangladesh.
Vamos, concha costelo, concha chisitilo.
Kai, forklift o camión.
Eso te muero muy. Castelo pegachari, palalo, que te quedó con la. Palalo, diles que a casa no brindis. Viene un show, o sea, pegachari con dolo.
Chidi ka Bangladesh.
Vaya, me dígale completico.
Kai.
Anda el camión, no conchadica de camión. Ellos segundo, de izquierda para acá, de cables.
Kai, chorro, chidi ka Bangladesh.
Vamos, concha costelo, concha chisitilo.
Kai,
Eso te muero muy.
forklift o camión.
Eso te muero muy. Castelo pegachari, palalo, que te quedó con la. Palalo, diles que a casa no brindis. Viene un show, o sea, pegachari con dolo.
Chidi ka Bangladesh.
Vaya, me dígale completico.
Kai.
Costelo de que acá, dile que acá callale, ahí yo muy pelón, sí, pelón, varón, pelón. Hinchar los creadores dijeron de concha, que la de que chujaba.
Segundo.
Catelo Pegachari, Palalo, Catacodocola. Palalo, dile que a casa lo brindis. Viene un show, o sea, Pecucharico se dalo. Vaya, me dígale completico. Dígale.
Forklift o camión.
Yo tomo muy. Catelo Pegachari, Palalo, Catacodocola. Palalo, dile que a casa lo brindis. Viene un show, o sea, Pecucharico se dalo. Vaya, me dígale completico. Dígale. Catelo que acá, dile que acá callale, yo muy pelón, sí, pelón, varón, pelón. Hincharon que a dos dijeron de. Concha, que la de que chupaba. Muy. Catelo Pegachari, Palalo, Catacodocola. Palalo, dile que a casa lo brindis. Viene un show, o sea, Pecucharico se dalo. Vaya, me dígale completico. Dígale.
Come on, guys. What in the F was that? What in the F was that? So I don't know, man. So with that video, like I didn't take the video myself, so I can't vouch for that thing 100%. However, this is the video that was released. You can see clearly it was in the moment that it happened. You could see that they clearly had, each one of them had large, they didn't bring just one firearm. Everyone there had a firearm and they had it ready to go. So you only do that if you're in fear for yourself or for something. So, did they see an ET? Was that an ET or was it something else? I don't know. But if that video has not been tampered with, you clearly were able to see eyes blinking. And it was just as the young man reported originally that something was inside of the tractor. Video shows exactly that. And you see something in there with big eyes, with eyes blinking. Now, I took a couple of freeze frames because I wanted to point some of the things out that I saw here. So let me bring those up. So as you can see here, that's the thing inside of the tractor. Now, what I came to find out is if you look to the right of it, I can't point with this here, but right next to it, I guess if you look through the glass there, that's where the other thing is. And in the video, you're able to see both of the eyes blinking. So okay, this is a better look at it. So on the left, that's the thing that we pointed at through the whole video. Then right there to the right, that form, right where the pointer is pointing, you can see what looks like a head. I guess that'd be like the cheek area. Right below that appears to be a neck. And then below that is a body. And if it is standing on the ground, that probably would have to be about 9-10 feet tall. Then if it's standing on the ground that high, that would have to be exactly what the guy said. So I don't know. Like I said, I didn't take the footage, but the footage he said that the footage he said he had that he hadn't released, and everybody was asking, well, why didn't you release the footage? Well, here's the footage. Clearly something was going on. Clearly that appears to be something. Now, like I said, if this video had been tampered with, I couldn't say. It doesn't appear to be, but I'm not any sort of video forensic specialist. So we'll leave it to them to go ahead and determine if what we're looking at was added post-production or if this is actually what they caught on film. Because if this hasn't been tampered with, then we probably would have to go with saying that the guy was telling the truth. And then the coincidence, I talked to somebody else and can't get past the coincidence that this fireball falls from the sky and then moments later there's a 911 call with these beings there. Could have been a meteorite. I'm leaning towards that's what it was, because we didn't have any other evidence or any information. But if this video ends up being authentic, then we can definitely probably tie those two things together and say the fireball was, whatever it was related to this here. So pretty freaking crazy. I don't know, like I said, I would be scared too. If I'm that family and this happened, I wouldn't be at the house. I wouldn't be there. I would definitely leave the location because I wouldn't be sure if those things would come back or not. How could you sleep at that? How could you go back in that backyard again at night if this is what you really saw? There's no way. So it's understandable why they would have just disappeared like that. It just makes total sense now, especially seeing this video. So, oh boy. So with that being said, I don't know, man. You guys can always go back and rewatch the video that we played. Actually, we're going to run that one more time for anybody who may have missed it. It's worth running back. So let's just run it back one more time here.
Para mí que canto país le gallengue a la chorsi, corai. Calmundarela me cancila igual eso. Kailo, cherro que chili. Kailo, cherro. Kailo. Chili cow. Chili cow.
Andrelo.
Kai, firmizar, que sai.
Anglaudel te
Pero firmizar, porque canto. No, cherro, que calmundarela me.
Diles, ahí están los viendo para acá.
Kai.
Ande el camión, la conchadica del camión. El segundo, de izquierda para acá, de cables.
Kai, cherro, chili cow, la del.
Concha, cortelo, concha, chistilo.
Kai, forklift o camión.
Cartelo, pegachari, palalo, que te quedó para palalo, dile que a casa de un brindis. Viene un show, o sea, pegachari, cuidadolo. vaya, me dígale completico.
काय
Anda el camión, no concha, diga
Estamos
el camión. Segundo, de izquierda para acá, de cables.
काय चेरो चिदी का बंगला del
Concha, costelo, concha, dilo.
काय
Eso muy.
forklift o camión
Eso muy. Castelo, pegachari, palalo, que te acordó con la. Palalo, dile que a casa no brindis. Viene un show, o sea, pecuchari, cuidadolo.
चिदी का बंगला del
Vaya, me dígale completico.
काय
cable.
काय
Costelo, de que acá, dile que acá, callale, ahí yo muy pelón, sí, pelón, varón, pelón. Hinchalo, que a dos dijeron de. Concha, que la de que chujaba.
segundo
Castelo, pegachari, palalo, que te acordó con la. Palalo, dile que a casa no brindis. Viene un show, o sea, pecuchari, cuidadolo.
चिदी का बंगला del
Vaya, me dígale completico.
काय
Eso muy.
forklift o camión
Eso muy. Castelo, pegachari, palalo, que te acordó con la. Palalo, dile que a casa no brindis. Viene un show, o sea, pecuchari, cuidadolo.
चिदी का बंगला del
Vaya, me dígale completico.
काय
Costelo, de que acá, dile que acá, callale, ahí yo muy pelón, sí, pelón, varón, pelón.
या
Hinchalo, que a dos dijeron de. Concha, que la de que chujaba.
segundo
Muy. Castelo, pegachari, palalo, que te acordó con la. Palalo, dile que a casa no brindis. Viene un show, o sea, pecuchari, cuidadolo.
चिदी का बंगला del
Vaya, me dígale completico.
काय
Yeah. So, Derek, if it's true, then that means that in the gravel driveway, the ship was closed. I want to know if the object is still there and if there's any video of government in that spot searching. That would be excellent. A good thing to know. I'm sure with the ring cameras all around the neighborhood, somebody had to catch the vehicles that they said were passing through the neighborhood. So, with that being said, is the kid lying? is this video fake? I'm sure it'll be Mick West will get a hold of it. I'm sure some people who are really good at photographic forensics will get a hold of it, take a look at it, and try to determine if it's real or fake. But you gotta, even though they weren't speaking English, they were speaking the universal language of protect yourself with their arms, and they all had arms. Each one of them had arms. All three of the gentlemen had arms. So if these things are real, and we know that the government is holding back the crash crafts and the bodies, as David Grush said. So the problem I would have with this is, if it is real, then basically the government just sits back and does nothing at all to protect the citizens. Do they really have our best interests at heart? When you think about like abductions and things like that, we know those things are happening based off the experiencers. The government sits back and denies that these things are here or this stuff is happening, and they're allowing citizens to be in harm's way. So that's a crime against humanity right there. If these things are real and the government hasn't spoke up, Arrow, any of these guys haven't spoke up, then that's a real problem, dude. It's a real problem. And that's why the general public needs to be aware of what's going on. So whether you are a person that believes or you don't believe, when you go out in those woods at night, like I used to take drives. For instance, I used to take a drive from Reno to Las Vegas during the night, hundreds of miles of just open road and open desert. I would have never done that in today's climate, understanding what's going on. I would never do it because I'm putting myself in harm's way. If these things are just landing and they're showing up whenever they want to, then you get that feeling something's watching you or the hairs on your neck raise up. Those those are instinctual senses that we have, and we feel that way for a reason. So real crazy. But the good thing is that with all this stuff that's going on right now, at least we have congressional hearings coming up. If you haven't heard, Tim Burchett was on the news the other day, and pretty much, I guess he's going to be heading the next UFO hearing. So that's good news, because we know Tim Burchett knows or believes that this stuff is going on, and he's going to ask the right questions, and he's going to get down to the bottom of this. So let me go ahead and show you what Tim Burchett talked about here.
Representative Tim Burchett is one of the lawmakers who will lead the oversight hearings into Grush's claims. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. First of all, how believable do you find this whistleblower, David Grush?
I find him very believable, ma'am. He's a veteran. He served our country. Doesn't mean a lot in Washington, D.C., apparently, but in East Tennessee, it means a whole heck of a lot about people that served their country. He's decorated. I've known him for some while. We've been in contact for a good while. I've talked to so many other people, ma'am, that are risking their careers, literally, or their reputations. Pilots that have chased these craft that we've seen on video that have no heat signature, that defy our laws of physics. I don't know how much more we can have of this. I really think what we're seeing now is the military machine is realizing there's some dollars out there, and our Pentagon, which loses over $1 billion a year in audits and nobody asks any question, is going to start asking us for more money to study the issue, when in fact, if they just release some of the files that they released to us that are so heavily redacted that they look like a piece of Swiss cheese, I just think we could get to the bottom of this a lot faster.
The House Oversight Chairman Comer has said he would ask you to lead the hearing on this. Any word on what that might happen, when that might happen?
Well, we're just trying to get confirmed folks here, know that they can come in and testify. That's really the only holdup, ma'am. I'm not. Chairman Comer is very kind to me, and the Speaker McCarthy has also agreed that we could have this hearing, and I'm honored that they put me in charge of it. But that's really the only holdup right now, is making sure we get everybody and we get their dates there. I get tired of these. We're over COVID. I'm tired of all these Zoom meetings. I want bodies in chairs.
Will you? I'm assuming you're going to have David Grush there to testify, right?
We're going to try. We are going to try. I think what he has to be really careful of is crossing over that line of speaking about something that maybe is classified or not, or taking out of context. And so we're going to work with him and his folks, and hopefully get him here as well. I think he would be a real star.
And will you call on somebody from the Pentagon or the Department of Defense to come in? Because obviously what he's claiming is that there is a ultra top secret program, more top secret than the Arrow program that he was himself assigned to, that exists, that is keeping this information hidden from Congress and the American public.
I think at some time we will, ma'am, but the group that they put in charge of this, if you saw the Intelligence Committee that was open to the public, ma'am, they couldn't even spell UFO. They didn't have a clue about what's going on. And honestly, we really got hosed on that meeting, because they built it up as they always do, and it was absolutely nothing. They could not slow down a 22-second videotape. My little daughter, who will be 16 on Wednesday, she could have stopped that tape, and they couldn't even stop the tape to show allegedly what something was that was filmed with a cell phone inside of a canopy of an airplane. They just pulled something out. And if you look at the Tic Tac videos that are out, 60 Minutes did a big expose on it, and there's been multiple talk shows about it, and it has the actual Navy pilots. We had a Navy pilot that was in the audience but was not allowed to come in because they had to give him press credentials. That's the kind of garbage we're putting up with, ma'am. You know, these congressmen, we're just spoon-fed this little stuff, and as long as we get our big PAC checks, we're happy. And the American public's ticked off, and I'm ticked off. Let's get to the bottom of it. Let's start bringing some real people in there, and quit with all the people that are covering it up, asking them to fix the problem. Because, you know, dadgummit, they're not going to. All they're looking for is another check.
Representative Tim Burchett, thank you so much. Look forward to those hearings, and look forward to hearing back from you again on when those are actually happening.
Yeah, so Tim Burchett on the case. What do you think about that? You got to be happy about that. You got to be happy. You know, I was looking, and actually look at this headline that I found here. So this is how you know the disclosure is getting real, because what happens? They reach out and they try to find something to take the sales out of disclosure. So all of a sudden, we have all this disclosure stuff going on, and we get a headline like this. We get a headline like this. Let me get this up here. Russia state TV warns U.S. a nuclear strike will happen in the crosshairs. They're trying. So that's how you know that we have something going on, because they're trying with this. We know there isn't really at this moment going to be threat of a nuclear strike. They're at a war with Ukraine. They threw the U.S. in there because we have all this stuff going on. We got David Grush coming out. The scales are tipping. So those people in those secret places, the global secret cabal, need to find a headline that's going to take the sales out of disclosure. So what we have to make sure that we do is we don't allow that to happen. So yeah, this could be an important thing if it's really going on, but we can't be distracted by this headline and take our focus off of disclosure. That's what they're going to try to do. You know that. They've done it before. It's right out of the playbook, and that's what they're trying to do. Now, with that being said, I had something that I wanted to show to go. It goes along with this video that we played with the Las Vegas ET. So just to get a closer look at that, the freeze frame, that's the one right there in the middle of those arrows on the left. That's the first one. And then right where that arrow is pointing to the right, that's the second one. So that whole shadow part of the body there is going to be the second thing, and that's the eye that is pointing at. So if you haven't seen this video, I have a video that I've always hung my hat on. You know, a lot of people say, oh no, that's been debunked. I've never found it to be debunked. And I've for the last 2 years, I have looked at this video, and it's this one here. Check it out.
Camera. A Colorado family caught something very strange on their home surveillance camera. Can you figure out what that is? The figure that looks like out of this world down the driveway. As Courtney Fromm reports, the family is still trying to figure out what they saw.
Here, let's watch that again. Still aren't sure what it is? Well, neither is Vivian Gomez, the homeowner whose security camera caught this out-of-the-world moment on tape.
And we just kind of looked at each other, and he said, "What is that?" I said, "I don't know." And we watched it probably 10 times and tried to figure out what it was.
In just a week of the video being posted online, it's received over 14 million views.
It's very overwhelming.
Vivian says people have messaged her saying it's a prank, others saying maybe aliens.
It's possible that aliens could be alive, no one knows.
And others hoping it's their favorite movie character.
I thought it was Dobby from Harry Potter because I watched the Harry Potter movies with my sister. And so, yeah, it freaked me out.
But either way, Vivian and her son Bobby agree they are just as unsure as everybody else.
I'm still on the fence about it. Sometimes I really look at it and I think maybe it's what I initially thought it was. Other times I think...
Which is an alien.
Right.
Okay.
Other times I think maybe someone is playing a prank.
I didn't know what it was. It could be anything, so...
Well, the other 2 cameras at her home didn't catch whatever it was walking down the driveway. It was seen on only one camera. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm trying to find that Close Encounters.
Yeah. I think that's going to get us to have some aliens in our own driveways. I don't know, that video, I've watched it so many times. And I keep trying to analyze it. I'm like, could it be a prank? It almost looks too real to be fake, right?
When you start getting to science, the probability that it's a prank is about 50%.
All right. So, aliens walking the earth. That video, period. That one is always already showed me that these things are walking the earth. No way that that thing was human. Anybody who tried to debunk the video, they all agree that it's a real video. They all agree that it's definitely something walking down the driveway. They tried to say it was a kid, but I pointed out many times that thing is too skinny to be a kid. It's too uniform of a color. It's white from head to toe. No, and it's too skinny. The arms were too long. The proportions weren't right. So that was video proof that things walk the earth. So when you see that, then the Las Vegas video doesn't seem too far off. But getting into that, we did the other day Disclosure Project 1.0, and we did that in preparation for Disclosure Project 2.0, which just happened on Monday. What did you think about it? I know, Derek, you were here for the live stream. I know what you thought about it. I don't know, man. It was a mixed bag. It was a long presentation. It was 3 hours long. It was a little different than the first round. The first round, everyone who came up to speak was pretty much on task. You know, the first Disclosure Project, they had like 19 different speakers, and they really got to the point. They said what they're going to say, got off the stage, the next person came up. With this one, we had a lot of probably more compelling stories, but it was hard to absorb all the information while watching. So that's why we waited a couple of days, tried to, see what the pluses were, what the minuses were. The one criticism that I have, and I was hoping that Greer would not go off on a tangent, and he kind of did. So Greer's is in the belief that there's man-made craft and then there's extraterrestrial craft. So he made a point to stick that at this hearing. Also, and we've done a video on this before. If you go back and watch the previous episode, the Dr. Stephen Greer false flag theory, where we kind of picked that apart, because Dr. Stephen Greer feels like there is going to be a false flag alien invasion perpetrated by the government. And we poked holes in that because it doesn't make sense for in the coordination that it would take to try to pull something off like that is probably just highly unlikely. So getting into this, I put a lot of notes together on this. So I want to go ahead and make sure we present this in the right way, since it was 3 hours long. Let me go ahead and go over some of this stuff with you guys. All right, so Disclosure 2.0. Now, just a brief overview of the Disclosure Project. This goes part 2 to our other video. So the Disclosure Project, headed by Dr. Stephen Greer, has been at the forefront of uncovering information about extraterrestrial phenomena for over 2 decades. With the team of dedicated volunteers and courageous whistleblowers, the project has amassed a vast collection of testimonies, documents, and evidence shedding light on the existence of unidentified aerial phenomenon and their implications. On May 9th, 2001, the Disclosure Project held a groundbreaking event where 22 individuals with direct involvement in extraterrestrial encounters came forward. These witnesses included military personnel who handled extraterrestrial bodies, operated retrieval teams, or had firsthand experience with advanced craft. Although the event garnered attention in Congress, comprehensive hearings were not conducted at the time. However, progress has been made since then as efforts to bring the issue to the forefront have continued. Over the past 33 years, the Disclosure Project has collected testimonies from approximately 70 to 80 whistleblowers, each with unique insights into UAPs and related phenomena. These brave individuals have come forward to share their experiences, providing valuable information for researchers and the public. Their accounts have been meticulously documented, videotaped, and transcribed, and are readily available through the project's website and YouTube channel. In recent years, there has been a notable shift in the approach towards UAPs within the government, with the passage of a law requiring the Director of National Intelligence to disclose relevant information. Efforts to obtain comprehensive data and reports have gained momentum. The Disclosure Project has actively contributed its intelligence to aid those to uncover the truth. However, obstacles remain, including historical instances where information was withheld from the president and Congress, leading Dr. Greer to realize the existence of a shadowy government operating outside of proper oversight. This week, the Disclosure Project handed over an extensive archive of material to the Congress, the White House, and the Pentagon's Aerial Anomaly Research Office, or AARO. The archive comprises tens of thousands of government documents, including top secret facilities, crash retrieval cases, witness testimonies, and clues from undisclosed sources. Additionally, the archive features illustrations and investigations by aerospace historian Michael Schratt, providing valuable insights into these phenomena. As the Disclosure Project continues to advocate for transparency, it emphasizes the importance of public awareness and media involvement. The dedicated volunteers and whistleblowers who have contributed to the project are considered heroes, working tirelessly to shed light on a subject of immense significance. With the official mandate for the Pentagon and the intelligence community to investigate UAPs and report back to Congress, there is hope that further progress will be made in understanding these phenomena. Now, the Disclosure Project, which is led by Dr. Stephen Greer, has been instrumental in bringing attention to the existence of unidentified aerial phenomenon and the need for transparency. Through the efforts of whistleblowers and dedicated volunteers, the project has compiled a substantial archive of testimonies, documents, and evidence. As the push for government transparency gains momentum, the project remains committed to uncovering the truth about extraterrestrial phenomena and promoting public awareness. With ongoing developments and a renewed focus on this issue, the Disclosure Project stands poised to make significant contributions to our understanding of the universe and its potential mysteries. So, in a captivating account that spans several decades, a former Air Force pilot shares his involvement, which we'll get into that here. That's the first speaker. But first, before I do that, I know I have a few Stephen Greer slides. So Greer went over some things here, which he states the Disclosure Project archive, these are some of the slides that he showed, contains government documents from the United States, Canada, Australia, Russia, UK, and more, 145 top secret facilities and map bases, 752 witnesses from military, corporate government sources, files with witness testimony, and some video with supporting documents and information, which led to the compilation of top secret facilities and bases map, 121 UFO crash retrieval cases. Some documents include names of witnesses. There are a number of, quote, deep throats that provided intel and whose names are unknown and are not included in the archive. And there's going to be this is a list of the people who previously took part in the Disclosure Project. If you look here, you could see pretty much everyone who spoke on Disclosure Project 1.0. There's Carol Rosin. I know Danny Sheehan is in here. Let's go ahead and flip through. So Greer showed this here Lockheed Skunk Work underground base. So Stephen Greer says that this base is where Lockheed is storing the reverse engineered craft, so underground. What proof does he have? He says a whistleblower gave him information on it. And that was the problem that I had with this, is that a lot of the information that Stephen Greer gave, that he presented himself, was hearsay information, and none of the people that supposedly gave him the information were at this hearing. For whatever reason or another, he stated that they didn't want to reveal themselves, and it was pretty cryptic as far as the reason why those people weren't present. So that's why, as far as this disclosure hearing went, Stephen Greer really wasn't the highlight of what took place here. It was more about the presenters, and we're going to go ahead and get to those people in a minute. Let me flip through some of the slides that Greer had here. So he claims that another thing, the pictures that were presented were artist recreations or renditions. Nothing was a real picture. And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because how are we supposed to take this to the bank when you're presenting us drawings and computer generated recreations? So according to Greer, this is a cloaked invisible M1 Abrams tank. I don't know, does this technology exist? We can't really, who can validate this? That's the problem that I have with Stephen Greer. So this is a letter that he claims that whistleblower gave him, one of these people who could not show up to the presentation. And the letter states, "Dear Dr. Greer, I consider this document doctor-patient privilege communication. It was a pleasure to talk with you today. I'm hesitant to provide you much more detail. I'm contemplating what to provide at this time. As I give the matter more thought, I will write you or call you again. Perhaps we can even meet for a cup of coffee in Phoenix in the upcoming months." And a lot of the stuff that he presented is like this. I mean, how do you present this to, how do you get the attention of Congress or someone to take this, what you're saying, seriously when this is the information that you present to them? So I kind of want to just flip through this. He claims that there's an underground facility at the Dugway Proving Ground. Once again, artist rendition or recreation, nothing that can be validated. So we'll go ahead and flip through that, because I really didn't find his information enticing. But let's get to Colonel Donald Heckert, United States Air Force. So the people who spoke here had some great compelling stories here, and I'm gonna go ahead and give you like a synopsis of what they actually spoke about. So Colonel Heckert here In a captivating account that spans several decades, a former Air Force pilot shared his involvement with SCI vaults, encounters with unidentified flying objects, and his role in highly classified projects. From historical revelations to firsthand experiences, this extraordinary testimony sheds lights on moments of intrigue, secrecy, and unexplained phenomena. The pilot begins by highlighting his connection to renowned figures in aerospace history, such as Kelly Johnson and Ben Rich. He shares a remarkable artifact, the 1953 UFO report signed by Kelly Johnson and his engineers. This report was accompanied by a letter from Kelly Johnson to the National Director of Intelligence emphasizing the importance of investigating UFO sightings. With the wealth of knowledge and experience, the pilot establishes his credibility and sets the stage for his own encounters with the unknown. During the latter stages of the Vietnam War, this pilot recalls flying an operation called Linebacker 3, positioned in an orbit south of the ocean border. He becomes aware of a fast-moving object approaching him from North Vietnam and Laos. The sighting is accompanied by a unique wavelength of light reminiscent of nuclear activity. As the UFO rapidly descends and tracks alongside his aircraft, his instruments react, triggering concern from ground control, despite the limitations of fuel and the risk involved. The pilot agrees to intercept the UFO, documenting its presence through advanced infrared sensors. However, as he closes in, the UFO mysteriously disappears, leaving behind a trail of secrecy and unanswered questions. On a subsequent mission above the DMZ in Korea, he encountered another UFO. The intense light emitted by the unknown object blinds him temporarily, turning his black aircraft white. The encounter unfolds with astonishing speed and agility, defying conventional explanations. His distress prompts him to abort the mission, but the subsequent debriefing omits any discussion of the incident, leaving him perplexed and frustrated. And transitioning into a new assignment with AVTAC, the Airborne Vehicle Test and Evaluation Center, he finds himself at the forefront monitoring nuclear pollution and performing aerial reconnaissance. His experiences range from detecting submarine activity to observing nuclear tests. These operations highlight the delicate balance between intelligence gathering and diplomatic sensitivities. He discloses his involvement with Area 51, where he witnessed a security breach and promptly reported it, leading to the arrest of those involved. Additionally, he uncovers cost overruns with his own projects and discovers funds diverted to other undisclosed projects, hindering his own advancements. Now, this account provided a glimpse into the extraordinary experiences of an Air Force pilot whose encounters with UFOs and involvement in classified projects have shaped his perspective on the unknown. From historical documents signed by renowned aerospace pioneers to firsthand encounters with unidentified aerial phenomenon, his journey offered a unique perspective on the intersection of military operations and unexplained phenomena. Go to Michael Herrera, U.S. Marine Corps. So Michael Herrera, his story, he's a former Marine. He recently disclosed a shocking incident that occurred during a humanitarian mission in the Philippines back in 2009. Now, with the assistance of Dr. Greer and others, Herrera shared his experience of encountering a mysterious craft, encountering unidentified individuals, and witnessing peculiar events that have left an indelible mark on his life. In 2009, the renowned 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines, considered the most decorated infantry battalion in the entire Marine Corps, was summoned for humanitarian assistance in the Philippines, joining forces with the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit and the 7th Naval Fleet. Herrera's unit aboard the USS Denver embarked on Operation Quezano. Little did they know that their mission would take an inexplicable turn. During the operation in Quezano, the Marines received news of a devastating earthquake and tsunami in the western part of Sumatra, Indonesia. While other ships remained in the Southern Fleet, the USS Denver, Herrera's vessel, was inexplicably diverted to the location. Upon reaching the destination, the Marines discovered a peculiar craft hovering approximately 10 to 20 feet above the ground. Its shape, a smooth rotating structure with changing colors, left the Marines awestruck and curious to investigate further. As the Marines approached the enigmatic craft, they were abruptly intercepted by a group of individuals resembling American soldiers. These individuals, displaying advanced gear and weaponry, lacked any recognizable insignias or ranks. Their aggressive behavior and threatening language sent chills down the Marine spine. Forced to relinquish their weapons and subjected to intense scrutiny, the Marines were left perplexed by the identity and motives of these rogue military forces. In an astonishing turn of events, Herrera discovered that the cargo being loaded onto the mysterious craft included containers that were later revealed to be used for transporting individuals. This revelation shook Herrera and his fellow Marines to the core, as it hinted at a disturbing truth about illicit activities occurring within a region already ravaged by numerous challenges. Following their encounter, the Marines were escorted away from the scene and instructed not to divulge any information about the incident. The mysterious individuals left the Marines feeling fearful, confused, and uncertain of their own safety. Upon returning to their ship and subsequently to Subic Bay, the Marines experienced further occurrences such as missing personal belongings and suspicious incidents involving their equipment. Years later, Herrera continues to grapple with the haunting memories of that encounter. Sharing his story, he hopes to shed light on the truth and encourages others with knowledge of similar experiences to come forward. The unexplained events he witnessed during Operation Consano demand further investigation and disclosure. Michael Herrera's account of the extraordinary events he experienced during Operation Consano offers a glimpse into a perplexing and unsettling world beyond our comprehension. The encounter with the mysterious craft, the presence of unidentified individuals, and the discovery of a suspicious cargo has left an indelible mark on Herrera and his fellow Marines. Their courage in sharing the story serves as a call to uncover the truth behind these extraordinary events and illuminate the reality of what may exist beyond our own understanding. And this was the image the slide that he showed during his presentation. So this depicted what we just spoke about here. The next speaker was Stephen Digna Jr. So he had a pretty emotional, compelling story that he shared. So I'll give you a synopsis on what it was that he spoke about here. So, in a world filled with mysterious mysteries waiting to be unraveled, there are encounters that defy conventional understanding and challenge of our perception of reality. One such encounter took place in the Mojave Desert, where former United States Army Sergeant Stephen Michael Digna Jr. had a life-altering experience. Despite the challenges posed by a brain injury, Stephen courageously shares his testimony, providing an account of his encounter with an unidentified craft. On that fateful day in July 2001, Stephen, serving as the U.S. Army Training Center at Fort Irwin, California, found himself observing a live fire practice. From his vantage point, he spotted a craft in the distance resembling a hovering B-2 Spirit. Adjusting his eyes to the darkness, Stephen noticed 7 lights forming a distinct V shape on the craft. Little did he know that this encounter would change his perception of reality and leave a mark on his life. As Stephen continued his observation, an unexpected call came through the radio commanding a ceasefire. The range was hot, rounds were being fired, and lives were at risk. Amidst the chaos, Stephen's focus remained fixed on the craft. His determination to gather more information led him to use the night vision goggles, revealing details about the craft's structure and lights. The presence of a second jet black V-shaped craft further intensified the intrigue surrounding this encounter. Now, Stephen's attempt to analyze the craft features led to a surprising realization. Holographic lights emanated from the second craft towards the first. Strangely, these holographic lights displayed colors that defied the norm of Stephen's night vision goggles. While unable to confirm the nature of these lights, Stephen speculated that they might be projected holograms. This revelation only deepened the mystery surrounding his encounter. Curiosity took hold of Stephen, promoting him to contemplate throwing a baseball at the craft to test its tangibility. However, his intentions were met with disapproval and anger from one of the men present, indicating that they had encountered similar phenomenon before. Undeterred, Stephen's determination to document his extraordinary event only grew stronger. Days later, while on weekend pass with his wife, Stephen experienced another mind-boggling incident as they were driving. A powerful white light emanated from a dry lake bed caught his attention. In an unexpected turn of events, all electrical systems in their car shut down, leaving them in a state of perplexity. What followed next was nothing short of surreal. As Stephen and his wife exited the vehicle, they found themselves surrounded by a thick field of white plasma. Observing a spheroid craft enveloped in this plasma, Stephen's instinct led him to inspect it further. The craft, emitting a mesmerizing glow, displayed a texture reminiscent of smooth glass. However, upon drawing his hand back, he noticed it had a distinct shark-like texture. As Stephen explored the craft, he encountered a lattice-like structure beneath its surface, revealing a vibrant display of colors. Attempting to peer deeper, he was met with the spectacle of intense lights in various shades. Despite his efforts, the inner workings remained elusive. Stephen's encounter with this living-like entity left him with a profound understanding that there are forces beyond our comprehension. So he was pretty emotional. He could barely get through and it was so convoluted and jumbled that it was hard to really take in what it was that he was saying. So this synopsis that I'm giving you pretty much makes it a lot clearer. So the next person who spoke was D.C. Long from the U.S. Army. He had a pretty good story as well. So the story of D.C. Long, a former U.S. Army soldier whose life took an unexpected turn, revealed the profound impact of his military service, a family bond, and the unfathomable consequences of secrecy. From his early encounters with the military world to a series of life-altering events, D.C. Long's journey is one of resilience, heartbreak, and ultimately hope. From a young age, D.C. Long was immersed in a world intertwined with military. His father, a skilled contractor, fostered connections with influential military figures, exposing young DC to a life of hunting trips, fishing adventures, and unforgettable plane rides. Little did he know that these acquaintances, disguised as friends, would later play a pivotal role in shaping his destiny. Now, this story takes a dramatic turn when DC Long, now a soldier himself, finds himself at an undisclosed location known as Range 19. In this clandestine facility, he witnessed an enigmatic scene. An imposing monolithic slab, seemingly defying the laws of gravity, held up by an invisible force. Intrigued, he peeks underneath, only to find that nothing supporting the massive structure. Alongside it are peculiar objects emitting an aura of mystery and levitation. As swiftly as this surreal experience unfolds, the aftermath proves devastating. DC Long and his father are caught in a downward spiral of events that strip them of their livelihood. In a matter of hours, everything they worked for is seized, leaving them penniless and broken. The once unbreakable bond between father and son begins to fracture, and DC Long's desperate attempts to reconnect with his father are met with hostility. In a cruel twist of fate, DC Long's military career is prematurely ended when a trusted acquaintance intentionally sabotaged his parachute during a training exercise. The resulting injuries leave him shattered and cast aside, deemed unfit for military service. The loneliness and despair become unbearable as he realizes his father, now on the brink of death, has been taken advantage of by the very people he once held his trust. Just when it seems all hope is lost, a chance encounter with Dr. Greer breathes new life into DC Long's existence. Desperate and contemplating the unthinkable, he finds solace in the words of Dr. Greer and the belief that standing up against injustice is a worthy cause. Empowered by his newfound purpose, DC Long decides to share his story, unburdening himself of the weight he has carried for so long. Now, DC Long's journey is a testament to resilience of the human spirit and the bonds that connect us. It serves as a reminder that even in the face of an unimaginable betrayal and loss, there is a potential for healing, redemption, and the rekindling of hope. Next person up, Eric Hecker from Raytheon. So, former Raytheon employee Eric Hecker has come forward with the shocking revelation about the activities taking place at the South Pole Station in Antarctica. During a press conference, Hecker provided extensive documentation and evidence to support his claims, shedding light on a range of hidden capabilities and covert operations at the remote search facility. Hecker began by discussing the advanced technology present at the South Pole Station, which extends far beyond its publicly acknowledged scientific purposes. He revealed that the ice cube neutrino detector, which I believe we have a photo of here, ostensibly a passive listening device for scientific research, poses a clandestine capability. The detector's 5,160 embedded devices, known as DOMs, are capable of transmitting at a staggering 2,047 volts each. This discovery suggests that the South Pole Station serves as a multifaceted, directed energy weapons platform. Hecker swiftly detailed the various functions facilitated by the South Pole Station's advanced technology. First, it acts as an air traffic control station, detecting not only neutrinos, but also off-world and foreign nation crafts emitting neutrinos. This newfound capability opens up a world of possibilities in terms of vehicle detection and tracking. Furthermore, Hecker revealed evidence suggesting that the South Pole Station is an integral part of faster-than-light communications. With the existence of faster-than-light vehicles within the system, such advanced means of communication become a necessity. This finding brings attention to the South Pole Station's potential role as a crucial hub for interstellar communication networks. Unfortunately, Hecker's revelations did not stop there. He shed light on disturbing developments during his tenure at the South Pole Station. Notably, he disclosed that the facility possesses an earthquake-generating device. The earthquakes in Christchurch, New Zealand coincided with South Pole Station's initial activation of the device, raising serious questions about its potential as a weapon of war. Hecker further exposed a hidden extremely low frequency, or ELF, system at the South Pole Station. Contrary to official claims that the system was inactive, Hecker discovered it to be fully operational and utilized for undisclosed nefarious purposes. Additionally, he witnessed a powerful green laser emanating from the facility, suggesting its involvement in long-range communication or even defense systems. The implications of Hecker's revelations are substantial, raising concerns about the undisclosed activities occurring at the South Pole Station. His testimony calls attention to the involvement of military-industrial complex, which invests significant resources in these covert operations. He urges the public to recognize the diversion of funds intended for peaceful purposes to fuel the complex's own agenda. Another critical aspect highlighted by Hecker is the mysterious power supply at the South Pole Station. He speculates that there may be a secondary power source, potentially nuclear, which existed prior to the Antarctic Treaty's implementation. Alternatively, there may be an exotic power supply system that circumvents the treaty's provisions. Such power arrangements would absolve the involved parties of their treaty obligations, providing them with more latitude in their operations. Eric Hecker's revelations have brought a light to hidden capabilities and activities at the South Pole Station. His documentation and evidence lay bare a complex web of advanced technologies, potential weapon systems, and covert operations that extend beyond the publicly known scientific research. As the public becomes aware of these revelations, the need for transparency, accountability, and further investigation into the South Pole Station's activities become paramount. So moving on to Derek Garcia. Okay, actually paused for this was a Stephen Greer stepped in and actually showed what he, and this is the part that okay, so Stephen Greer says that there are ET crap and then man-made vehicles. So he says this is how you tell which are which. So on the right is a man-made vehicle. On the left is ET vehicle. And we have like 6 slides that will show that shows this. Now the one on the right, they actually showed one that looked like that on UFO Hunters. And they, I rewatched it just to be sure, and they did say they didn't. It was undetermined if it was a hoax or not. The photos that they received of a craft that looked just like that. So this one here, ET craft on the left, Melbourne, Australia. Man-made craft, Saskatchewan, Canada. He presented this one here. Presented this one here. And he went even further to say that the Tic Tac UFO is one of these man-made crafts. So, I don't know. I don't really agree with a lot of the stuff that he says. And he ends with the Cash Landrum UFO, which is depicted on the right. So he says that craft was a man craft, that 4 men were inside, 4 pilots flying that. And that was it was powered. They said he said that they couldn't get the original power source to work. So they powered it with a nuclear power source that malfunctioned the day of Cash Landrum, which is why they were sprayed with radiation. I don't know, and that's the thing. Stephen Greer speaks so matter of fact, but he doesn't have the receipts to back a lot of the stuff up. So it ends up being a lot of the time that it just ends up being stories that are unverified, that can't really be verified. So then he got into Derek Garcia and started talking about the RICO Act. Now I don't know how you feel about this, but I don't think that this is something that can even be enforced. But this was the list that they presented. So you can go ahead and read this here. So Disclosure Project, so crimes committed by illegal covert UFO related topics. Disclosure Project witnesses and gathered intelligence has established the following major crimes. So treason against the United States, murder, mass murder, torture, kidnapping and abduction, embezzlement of government funds, embezzlement of private funds, bank fraud, money laundering, illegal surveillance, insubordination, insurrection against the United States, false imprisonment, witness and whistleblower intimidation. Now we know that's true. That's what David Gress is going through. Theft of intellectual property. Maybe some on Nikola Tesla, possibly. Trespassing, burglary, framing of innocent people, government corruption, blackmail, bribery, illegal use of government and military property, and many more. And he's serious about this. I don't know. This is the attorney. So they have a group of volunteer attorneys. I think said they have up to 90 volunteer attorneys at this point that will be the ones that will be heading up these RICO cases and these RICO charges. But from what I understand with the RICO case, you got to start from the bottom. So you got to get the smaller guys to turn in the guys higher up and kind of work your way up the ladder. I don't see how that will work because, as you can see, like with David Grush, everyone's complaining about how it's hearsay information that he has on these programs and these crafts. And they're like, well, we want the guys who are actually ahead, dealing with these crafts directly for them to come out with the information, but they won't. So that's an example of trying to work from the bottom up. And I don't think that that's going to be anything that you can even accomplish. So I think this RICO stuff is pie in the sky. So let me give you a little bit about what Derek Garcia talked about. So civil rights attorney Derek Garcia, accompanied by attorney Paige Fox, and a growing legal team, has taken on a monumental task, ending decades of UFO secrecy and advocating for the release of vital technologies. Their goal is to address the current environmental and energy crisis by shedding light on hidden truths. Through the creation of the Disclosure Project legal team, they have assembled a diverse group of legal professionals, investigators, and experts from various states and jurisdictions working tirelessly to move disclosure forward. The Disclosure Project legal team comprises over 90 legally affiliated individuals, including attorneys, paralegals, law students, law clerks, and members of law enforcement and criminal investigators. This one-of-a-kind and strictly nonpartisan volunteer team is committed to legitimizing the UFO issue, raising public awareness about its constitutional and legal implications, and restoring full operational control over classified information. One of the primary objectives of the Disclosure Project legal team is to seek the truth about propulsion and advanced energy technologies that could potentially solve global challenges like world hunger, poverty, and the energy crisis. Their mission also involves seeking justice for those who have been harmed by non-disclosure and technology seizure. They plan to file civil RICO actions, Bivens claims, and pursue multiple legal theories to uncover the ultimate truth surrounding this issue. Based on the competence under oath testimony gathered by the Disclosure Project team and the intelligence, project team, the intelligence archives developed over 30 years by Dr. Stephen Greer, numerous major crimes have been identified. These include treason, murder, mass murder, torture, kidnapping, embezzlement, bank fraud, money laundering, illegal surveillance, insubordination, false imprisonment, witness and whistleblower intimidation, theft of intellectual property, government corruption, blackmail, bribery, and illegal use of government and military property, among others. The evidence collected by the Disclosure Project legal team may be utilized in criminal prosecutions led by United States attorneys or criminal prosecutors worldwide. This evidence could potentially lead to indictments related to numerous crimes committed in connection with UFO secrecy. The team's efforts aim to hold those responsible accountable and bring an end to the cover-up. I don't know about that. Derek Garcia's involvement in this issue dates back to his time as a young intern for Senators Bingham and Domenici in 2001. He distributed copies of the Disclosure Project executive summary to members of Congress, including Senator Daniel Inouye. During a private conversation, Senator Inouye confirmed the accuracy of the Disclosure Project's testimonies and acknowledged the existence of secret, unacknowledged entity or control group operating illegally within the U.S. government. Senator Inouye's statements reinforced Garcia's commitment to pursuing justice and disclosure. Now, the Disclosure Project legal team, led by Derek Garcia and Paige Fox, is dedicated to ending decades of UFO secrecy and advancing the release of vital technologies. With a rapidly expanding team of legal professionals and experts, they strive to bring about transparency, support the civilian government in regaining control over classified information, and uncover the truth about advanced energy technologies. Through their effort, they aim to seek justice, challenge illegal activities, and solve pressing global issues. He was the last speaker, and this is basically what the panel looked like here. So a lot different than the Disclosure Project one. Like I said, they had 19 people speaking at that. This one, they only had 6 speakers, but like I said, the stories were pretty compelling. As you saw and you heard what we went over here, this presentation was actually a lot neater and a lot better than it was to have to listen to that for 3 hours. So that's basically what happened. I mean, and here's how I feel about it. Here's the end result to that is I applaud Greer for putting on these sort of conferences or these sort of hearings, because he takes it to Washington, D.C. This is at the National Press Club, so it's right next to Congress. So if there was going to be a time where something was presented to get the ear of Congress, this would be something like that. But his claims are so fantastical. Let me come back on camera here. His claims are so fantastical that it's hard for someone who's coming from the outside to be able to absorb that. So just like when you if you're courting somebody for the first time, if you somebody you might like, a significant other, potential significant other, when you first meet them, you're not going to hit them with all the weird stuff that you do. You're going to be on your best behavior. You're going to play it safe, and then once you get to know that person, then you hit them with the weird stuff. See, with Dr. Greer, he comes with all the weird stuff up front. So he gets to talking about entities that are robotic entities that the government have created. Just all sorts of things that if you were somebody coming in, or you were somebody who hadn't really dealt with this subject before, and you were curious and you wanted to come in and kind of say, okay, I want to see what's going on. And then he hits you with robotic entities created by the government. Well, that is where the stigma comes from. So I watched this hearing I already knew what Dr. Greer was going to say. It's the same stuff he says on these podcasts. I think the good takeaway from it was he allowed these 6 people to go ahead and tell their stories. I think their stories were the ones that were compelling. So the other thing I didn't like was at the end of this hearing, he did a money pitch. So he talked about how he needed funding and volunteers, and it just rubbed me the wrong way. It's another cash grab, and he's already been criticized for capitalizing off of ufology, and it was more of that presented on a national stage. So he did what I hoped he wouldn't do, but at the same time, I still applaud the fact that he brought these people together to be able to have this conference. Now, I don't know if you got a chance to watch it, but the live is still on my page, so you can go back and watch the whole thing. The whole 3-hour thing is on there. But this was a summary of what happened. So that's essentially what, 3 hours shrunk down to, what do we do, about an hour here? So that's essentially what happened. So with that being said, that was the Disclosure Project 2.0 in a nutshell. If you have anything to say, leave it in the comments. But what we're going to do right now is get some of that go home music. But let me go ahead and talk to you for a minute about where we're going with this. So we broadcast this morning because we're trying something new. It's not a lot of ufology stuff going on in the mornings, so I don't know how you guys feel about waking up to doing UFO stuff or just getting on the topic. But I'm coming to find out that most of the things that happen in this field are happening in the evening. So we're trying some new things, and we're going to actually start doing call-ins. So let me go ahead and bring that information up. We do this for the positive progression of humanity always. Now, these are going to be the call-in numbers. So you can go ahead and save these to your phone. So now that we got the Disclosure Project stuff out the way, we can get back to business. We'll be doing a show tomorrow about David Grush, the part 2 of that. So we're back to business, and we might activate the call-in lines. However, those lines are live now. So if you have any comments, if you have any suggestions, if you have any experiences that you want shared on air, go ahead and leave a message there any time of the day. Only thing, no vulgarity, no political stuff, no religious stuff, and everything else is fair game. We'll go ahead and take your comments, and we're going to create a segment on the show where it's just viewer call-in stuff. We'll activate the live lines, and we'll do like a live call-in. So definitely make sure that you have the number saved in your phone. Make sure that you tune in for the live stream so that we can, join the conversation. I can sit up here and I could talk all day, right? But it's about interacting with our viewers. That's what this is about. We do it for you guys. Now, Social Dig is now available, as you see there on the screen, on Spotify and iHeartRadio. So if you're on your commute, if you're out and about, make sure you go to the Social Dig. Listen to the podcast. You don't have to do video. Listen to the podcast while you're driving to work. Listen to the podcast while you're driving home, while you're on that road trip. It's been a pleasure working with you guys today. I'm so glad you guys did come out for me and listen to this Disclosure Project 2.0. Go back and watch part 1 and then part 2, and you'll see how these two things come together. So anybody who's new to ufology, who didn't know anything about the Disclosure Project, period, take these 2 shows and it'll bring you all the way up to speed on what that's about. And that's what we're about, educating the people who really don't know, who are new and just learning and wanting to absorb information. So with that being said, I might have my guy Mateo back tomorrow. That'd be a great thing. So if you have anything that you want to say, put it in the chat, man. Put it in the chat. Make sure you guys show up for the next live stream, and let me know if it's better doing live streams in the morning, if it's better for you, afternoon or evening. It's pretty cluttered in the evening. A lot of shows go on right then, and I feel good. I got my cup of coffee here, man. It's early. I feel real good. About to get my day started. Happy hump day. Let me check the comments. I know Magneticus came through. Didn't hear any breaking and entering. That's how they plant evidence. You dang straight, Magneticus. And that's probably what the kid with the in Las Vegas is dealing with. Because if that was real, what happened, the government came to his house or approached him at a store somewhere. The kind of creepy stuff that they do. So it's enough to scare those people and get them to go into hiding. So I don't know. I wouldn't discount what they're saying. I was leaning more towards it's a hoax. But then we saw the video earlier this show. There was something in those tractors, and they did look like they were 9 or 10 feet tall, and they all did have their weapons. So more to come with that. But let me go ahead. Derek Galloway, thank you for coming through. Catanese, thank you for coming through. Also, 50% of the people that watch haven't subscribed to the show. We're all about improving, and we commit to raising the bar So if you look back on past episodes, you'll see that we've been elevating the game here, and we're going to continue to do that. Please let us know what you like the most, what you want us to do, because we're doing this for you. That's why we're here. So if there isn't anything else, what I'm going to do is get us up out of here. I thank you so much for your time. I thank you for stopping by the Social Dig. You guys have a wonderful hump day. Have a great rest of your week. Be back tomorrow. We got that David Grush show. It's going to be live, and we'll be back to our normal format. So make sure you guys hit that notification bell. I know Derek said he wasn't being notified. So if you have that problem, message me so I can talk to YouTube and see what's going on. But outside of that, it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys so much for your time. I am Mr. Rob G. This is the Social Dig. You guys have a great rest of your day. Take care.